Welcome, 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 Miracle Makers. It's so funny. I am so grateful that you're here. It's mental health, right? Mental Wellness Mondays. We've got for you during this period someone that I just care for so deeply, and she so graciously is coming on to share her expertise and her wisdom about being in the mental health system. Today, you're going to learn and explore all the things that you can do if you find yourself in a hospital, or how to advise your loved ones that might be in a hospital, mental health, in a facility that's designed to bring about mental health. This expert, she has got the awareness from the inside out. She knows exactly what to do, and she's going to explain all of her experiences in order for you to be able to navigate yourself through the mental health system that we have in the United States. Also today, we're going to talk about some upcoming things. On Tuesdays, we're doing plant medicine. On Wednesdays, it's wellness. On Thursdays, we dive into love. And on Fridays, truly into solving the society's long-stemming problems, how you can contribute, what you can do. Today, mental wellness. There's nothing like peace of mind. There's nothing like knowing exactly what you want to do and how to accomplish it through your thoughts, through your emotions, through the relationships that you've built. And I'm so grateful for this extraordinary woman named Kitoto Sunshine Love. She is, I guess a great way to say it is today she's going to be sharing. Let me just bring you on, Kitoto. Let's bring you on, right? Let's share the screen here. How can I speak about you other than you're certified in Reiki and color light therapy and angels and everything to do with spirituality? You're also, would you call yourself a reverend or a minister?
I would say both, because I minister to people, and that's my ministry, is to minister to people, but I am a reverend. So
You are
it's
a
new
reverend.
to me to identify myself that way, but I'm just really somebody who's blessed to be a blessing.
You're blessed to be a blessing. And this mental wellness, this mental Mondays, the reason that I want to do it, and I was tearing up as I was thinking about this, one of my best friends in college, his biggest fear, we were learning about Howard Hughes at the time and how he'd locked himself up and all of the challenges that were happening with Howard Hughes. My best friend said, oh my God, if ever I go crazy, and we both made this little pact that we would always, always tell each other the truth and bring mental health. Like that was his biggest fear. My biggest desire is to really cure 100%. It's possible if we can bend ourselves around the vastness of how nature represents herself in each individual. We can truly cure all the quote unquote mental illness. And thank you so much, because I know so much about you and I trust you and I value what you share. And so I'd love for you to share why are you bringing this up? Why are you creating this time for us? Why are we diving into this?
Well, again, God doesn't waste anything. So God and goddess, angels, fairies, pixies, they will all use every experience I've ever had to minister to somebody else. And when this experience happened, there were so many synchronistic events that took place for me. I was recently in the hospital. And so there were so many synchronistic events that they were letting me know, you're still awake. this is very real. Don't go back to sleep, you know? And so many people are having awakening experiences and finding themselves in a hospital because they don't understand what's really happening with the planet and what's happening with them and within their own energy system. So why am I here? Because again, I said, like Isaiah, here I am, Lord, pick me. And he does. So you go when you're called.
You go when you're called. And how would you describe, for those that you've met and people on the path like yourself, what happens sometimes in the mental industry world, the medical world? How do they see, if you could frame maybe some of your experiences so that everyone who's watching can understand the depth with which you understand this?
So, okay, I've been diagnosed so many different things from my first hospitalization at 19 years old. I'm 43. I'm not afraid to say my age. So 43 years young, right? Telomeres lengthen. So that's a little 5D joke. So basically, we go through these experiences and we grow. We learn that the doctor isn't the end all be all. If the doctor, it will even say themselves when they diagnose you, things may change. You know, if a doctor says it's never going to change, that's it, watch it. Go to God. Go to God and don't receive it. Now, again, I say this as a sermon. I don't say this as a doctor. You're the doctor. So that's my disclaimer. I'm just a preacher here. But what I'm saying is that I've been in the system. And they've told me that I was one thing and given me a label, and that's that. And then I moved to California and they gave me an entirely different diagnosis. I was very honest about what I had been diagnosed before. And they worked with Eastern medicine, which the others did not. And they said, actually, it's not what you think. And so that's why I'm saying keep an open mind, because you will find a doctor in Eastern philosophy that will tell you one thing. That's just a chakra issue, they will say. And then the other one will say, oh, and then you have to take this, and then you have to take this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but if it was up to me, Eastern.
And as someone who was in and has been in with the other end, right? Being a medical doctor here in the United States for a short period of time, ministering and being a doctor around the world, I now know that medical intuition, no one ever heals from something outside. It's always from within. That's the medical intuitive work. So I work as a medical intuitive, and in the Miracle Makers Academy founding this, so the great voices that are here to transform have a place to transform to, and each person, each one of us can ascend to that level to give what can only come through you. And so what's been the longest diagnosis? I mean, the longest time you've been in the hospital? What's the longest time?
3 weeks, I believe.
3 weeks.
Maybe a month. I went to a very special place in Massachusetts where James Taylor had been.
James Taylor. And you started at 19.
Yes.
And, could you tell us what it's like on the inside when you're inside one of those places?
Well, it's changed. So I'm not even going to go to how it was when I was 19. I'm going to describe it now, and thank you for asking, because I want people to really understand why this is important to me and why it's important to you. Because you get into this hospital and they take away forks and knives, plastic ones, and you're given a plastic spoon to eat everything. That's taking away your dignity and trust right there.
Yeah.
That one action speaks volumes.
Cell phone? Can you use your cell phone?
No, you cannot.
That's current day.
You cannot use your cell phone unless you are with a social worker who allows you to get phone numbers from your cell phone, or if you're getting it just standing in front of a direct care official who's letting you take your phone numbers out. I was allowed to use it to make a payment because I was out of state and I needed to pay my personal assistant to keep my rent going.
Yeah.
But I don't know what everybody allows. I was in South Carolina with that leniency. Here in California, it's strictly phone numbers. If you were there longer and it was special circumstances, it's up to the social worker. But in terms of a daily cell phone with you where you can listen to your meditations, not happening.
Not happening. What is allowed in the room with you?
So you're allowed to keep your clothing sometimes, but in California, many of them put you in a Johnny and they put you in undignified underclothes. And so you are allowed to, depending on where you are allowed to keep your skin.
You're
You're allowed
allowed
to
to
keep your
keep your
skin,
skin.
and
Can
you're
you go to
allowed
the bathroom
to.
on your own or meet with other people on your own within the facility?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So there's different states here. So in Massachusetts, there's more that you can keep. In South Carolina, there's more than you can keep. Here in California, they do take your clothes. They do put you in a Johnny. They do expect you to walk around in socks and slippers in a facility that may or may not be co-ed. And you are allowed to go to groups, you are allowed to do these things. However, if your family does not come from the outside and bring you things, they will take the clothes that you came in on. Some places allow laundry facilities, other places don't. It varies. And I could speak more on South Carolina, which was a state hospital, than I could speak on the city hospitals that they have here, that in California, that they give you a lot less. And your goal is to get in and get out. So I'm going to teach people today what they can do when it's all stripped away. This isn't here, the cell phone isn't here, you don't have, or you think you don't have, because it's a mindset. You think you don't have, you get to keep your mind.
You get to keep your mind. And so starting at 19 and all the way to here, and I love that. I love growing older and wiser. I really do. I appreciate every one of my breaths and every day that we get to share this wisdom. And the wisdom that I hear coming through you so beautifully is that there is a legal system and a medical system that can strip you of your rights, a legal system and a medical system that can strip you of your rights. Today, you are the CEO of 3 companies. You've got a great deal of resources, incredible resources available to you for creating what you create. Can you talk just a little, so we can see the difference between going in at 19, being locked up for about 3 weeks or so at various points. You've also had times in your life that forced medication, forced restraints, forced stuff.
Yes, absolutely. They do put you in restraints. They do, pull down your pants and your derriere if you give them trouble, if they feel that you're disruptive in any way. And if somebody takes your cell phone and all your clothes and doesn't give you under things, that are decent, they will actually bring a person to that point. Somebody who doesn't swear is usually very peaceable, can become very unpeaceable in a situation like that, because they give you a plastic spoon for all your food now. So basically, me at 19, I didn't know about the law of vibration. Me at 19, everything was dependent on a parent. Me at 19, I just really wanted to go out and hang out with my friends. I didn't want to hear about making my life better. I thought I had all the answers. I thought that my life was a set situation and that was all it was going to be. I was here at a paradigm and I didn't know that there was another paradigm for me. I knew things worked for others, but I didn't know they could work for me. So today, now I find myself in a hospital. I write a gratitude list almost immediately. I get into writing gratitude lists and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I consult my Star Council and I ask them for help and I write it down because they get the message. It's like it's sending a message in a bottle. They get it. So I ask them for help. I do deep breathing. When I'm around other people, I'm very loving. However, I need my dignity and my space and my boundaries. So if I'm here with other people that have their own vibration that doesn't mesh with mine, I need to be able to breathe. I need to be able to get up, walk to the other side of the room, go outside. They do allow in some places you to go outside, others they don't. You could be in there for 60 days, no outside privileges. That's in the state of California. This is one thing that you can do. The most important thing to remember is you don't want to go with the flow when you're in a hospital. Your main objective is, how do I get out?
How do I get out? And this is especially important for people that find themselves somewhere in the system in between, for you to share what you've accomplished just briefly. Even at times that I've known you, there's been different times that you've gone back to the hospital. You come out and you radiate and you get back into, as quickly as possible, the ability to be of service. And so even the going in and out, when you've come out, you are sparkly and you transform and you do what you do. I want you to share this for those that have family members that might be in there, or for a person that might right now be in the system and being followed up with the police or parole, or with, meaning like mental.
Oh, you mean in their situation?
In their situation, so they can really see,
Issue.
right, they can really see you can be challenged in every way. You can be challenged in the mental health system. There's two systems here, legal system and the health system, that can take away your rights, and they can take them away just all of a sudden without your consent.
Well, I don't know enough about the legal system because my issue hasn't been that. So
Right.
I can't really speak to that vibration.
Yeah.
Although what I can say is go to God. Go to God first and foremost.
Right. And so for you to just share, even though in a mental hospital, you come out, going in, someone who might be there, what would you tell them right now, or their family members?
Somebody who's in a hospital right now wouldn't even have any idea of this conversation.
Right. And their family members can share with them.
Family members. If you have a family member who's in the hospital, they want to come home. They really want to come home. The doctors don't know them. They're making an educated guess on their behavior when they came in, what a doctor in an emergency room saw, and how they're acting with groups. Group consists of a very specific paradigm, usually 12-step mentality, usually the surrender mentality, the doctors know better than me mentality, the social worker knows better than me mentality. I'm a very empowered woman. And my lifestyle obviously is not that of the next person, although it doesn't make me any better than the next person. It really just means that I don't think the same. So if you're in a mental facility on your mental health, remember that everybody doesn't think like you. So if a family member is watching this, your loved one is in a hospital with people who have a very different mindset than them. And if they're telling you they want to come home, they want to come home. So what I would do is I would go to prayer and ask for their highest good, and be a support if you can. If they call, please answer the phone. Again, everybody has their own personal boundaries, but I'd like to speak to the person who is watching now and is going to wind up in the hospital, because that's how Jesus works. He's going to get you before and that's how God does. Then you're going to see, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I saw that show, because now I know what to do. You're in there. Thank you. How do I get out? Yes, I did need to be placed in here because I was confused. How do I get out? Well, this is what you do. You go to groups, you go up a level. We need to know that they need to know you have a shelter. They need to know that you know how to take care of yourself. And many people are not unestablished. But if you find yourself in a hospital, remember, the planet is waking up. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a beautiful child of God, and God adores you. And what God has made, let no man put us under. You are amazing, and you are not a label that a doctor gives you. Even if you choose to receive that as part of your wellness plan, you do not have to become the label. You do not have to look it up on the internet and say, this is me, and then create that. You can choose, I am my own creator, and I create my life. I co-create with God. Is this too difficult for God? Absolutely not. When you get into a facility, you pray. You write a gratitude list. You write a to-do list, because you're manifesting when you get out. The first thing I'm going to do when I get out, things that bring me joy outside. Then you focus on beautiful things inside. They give you coloring books many times. They give you art projects at times. They allow you to do yoga. So these are things that you can do. And these are at some facilities. It varies. That's why when you get into a facility, you want to leave, because you don't know if you get into the habit of going into them, if you will wind up in a place that is less awake. So that is why I stress you don't want to stay in a place like that. Utilize it for what it is. Utilize it and accept that you're there. You certainly don't make a big stink about it. You accept that you're there. You accept that God allowed it to happen, because he doesn't usually place you there, but he allowed it to happen because you were in a classroom. You are in a classroom in life, and it was your lesson to learn. So there's something you can learn there, and it begins with a gratitude list. They will give you a pencil. They will give you a piece of paper. You can write what you're grateful for. You can write it down, and you can ask to have a journal. They very much encourage journaling. They want to know that you are soaking up what they're offering. They know they don't offer everything that you need. They know that because you're not allowed to have a fork. They know that they don't offer it. But when you take what they do offer and soak it in and use it and maximize it to the highest vibration, that's when they're saying, this woman's ready to go. This man is ready to go. What are they even doing here in the first place? And then they just let you go home. If you're in a situation where the courts wanted you in there and you have a hearing, I don't recommend requesting a hearing. You really don't want the courts in your life. This is just from a spiritual standpoint, okay? This is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. This is from a spiritual standpoint. When the courts get in your life, for instance, things can get, you really shouldn't speak at a hearing, and things can be said about you that are now on record that aren't even true at all, because they have no understanding of what it is to be awake in that paradigm. It may be something privately they do at home, but in a legal or a medical profession, they're not going to usually talk to you about, well, you know, your third eye is opening up, so you're not hearing voices or seeing visions, or Aunt Lou who passed away 10 years ago is your new guide and is actually visiting you and is trying to help you manifest a beautiful life. The chances are, you might get one, but chances are, if you're in a hospital system, you may not hear that from your doctor. So it depends. There are private hospitals. There are more upscale hospitals. Utilize what they have: yoga, meditation, juicing, nutrition. You've got exercise, dance, music therapy, lots of music therapy, even just coloring books. More low-end hospitals, they have things to offer as well. Other places, they may have group, they may have television, they may have other people in there. The best thing I can suggest about other people in there is that when you're around somebody else, remember they're a beautiful child of God, and God has them. You don't have to heal them. If you're a high vibrational person and you're of service, if you find yourself in a hospital, you may just naturally want to serve, but you actually don't have to. You're the patient, and you can just raise your vibration and be who you are and receive. It's really your time to receive when you're in a hospital. And just ask your angels to raise your vibration so that you can receive from a highest vibration what the hospital has to offer. Ask them to get you home. Thank them because they're already getting you home. Thank you, angels, that you are bringing me home in the highest, best way for me. You know, you just continue to manifest and be who you are. If you took this away today and put me in a Johnny, I would still be who I am. I may be a little shook because I like my dignity, but I would still be who I am. I'd be preaching, I'd be teaching, I'd be praying, I'd be invoking, I'd be meditating. Do you have your crystals in the hospital? Usually not. There are places where they allow it in a private setting. However, most places, when you get into the system, which is what we were talking about, won't offer that for you. And you really can draw a picture of the crystal and ask for the energy of the crystal to come to you and put it in the drawing. And you've got your amethyst right there for calming right there. There's so much you can do with your mind. If you really get out of the what I don't have and get into the, well, what can I do with what I do have mentality, even if they don't allow you a pencil and a piece of paper, can you say in your mind, thank you, angels? Yes, you can. You get your mind. In all circumstances, every hospital, you have your mind. Use
you have your mind. And Kitoto, I want to bring this in for the new listeners and people that are just joining us. We're with Kitoto Sunshine Love. Her first hospitalization for mental health, let's call it for mental health, for mental wellness, locked up in a facility for mental health at 19. She's now at 43 and has gone, right, years strong, years young. And she's gone numerous times into the hospital, into mental wellness facility, and privately or publicly, sometimes by force, sometimes it was forced. So speaking to that, just so everyone that's joining us gets how incredible you are. Starting, you're a CEO of 3 companies. You've worked in and help a great deal of people. We did work on a few times with helping the homeless, a few different tiny little things, but you have a big, big mission along with wanting. Right now, we designed in Miracle Makers Academy the next 6 weeks for you to have help, both from a medical intuitive, someone who's actually worked inside the hospital with patients, and non-government organizations around the world have done this work. And I have the insight from my grandmother, from the shaman healers and teachers that I've worked with, from understanding medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, Indian medicine, working and learning about Peruvian medicine, understanding Egyptian medicine. Kitoto has done so much work in the angel realms, in color therapy, in developing. She's now in the process of developing these hands-on tools that can truly transform and bring forward things that you can do before you or your loved one wind up in a medical facility that's for mental wellness, mental health. We here at Miracle Makers are so passionate about giving you the tools that allow you to sit in stillness. We call that HEAL, HEEL, as well as HEAL. In Kitoto, 19 to 43, you went through so the different diagnoses over the years.
Yes, I had different doctors that gave me different diagnoses and said, this is what it is. This is always going to be this way, until I evolved. I grew through Christ. I kept saying, I don't receive that in the name of Jesus. As soon as I learned about the power of the word of God and speaking words of life and the power of our minds, but I wasn't there yet. It was the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit can do anything, I knew. So I was like, well, in that case, heal me of this. And he said, you don't even have that. He said, you don't even need this medication. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. The doctors. And then he brought me to California. It took a couple years, but he brought me to California. And sure enough, a doctor told me, that's not you. So, and then later, a different doctor in a completely different state said, "This is you," which was completely different and more severe. So it's really, you have to remember, they don't know you. If you're in a high-end facility, they can get to know you a little bit easier because you have your dignity and you feel a little bit better. You can stay and take care of yourself. But again, I just caution with this. Those can become a comfortable situation. When I was 19 years old, it was a very comfortable situation. I loved it. I thought it was great. Did I enjoy not being able to leave? No, I was a cigarette smoker at the time. And I'm not afraid to say I'm happily no smoking since 2009. However, what I do want to say is that you don't want to get too comfortable in a hospital, because in the back of your mind somewhere, you might think, I need to be in a hospital again. That in and of itself can become a paradigm. It's really about self-empowerment. So it's really about, even in any situation you're in, even if you're in a gown and they didn't allow you your clothes, any situation you're in, you really want to say, I am the creator of my own life. I am co-creating something beautiful with God. Even in this situation where I don't have a pencil, where I don't have a piece of paper and a journal. Thank you, angels. You can write a gratitude list in your mind. You can do mind matter. You can visualize and cleanse your pineal gland and your chakra by practicing visualization. You can do meditation. And one thing that's very easy is breathing. And I wanted to take people with it. It's a tantric breathing. It's relaxing breathing. It's deep breathing. It's belly breathing. There's many different names for it. And you just breathe in.
Let's, why don't we go ahead and start that, and we'll all participate at the same time if you will lead us.
Okay, so we're going to do 6 counts breathing in, pushing out our belly, 6 counts holding it, and 6 counts breathing out, letting our belly come in. Starting.
So just to fully understand this, your breath can transform and activate different parts of your mind. HeartMath Institute shows and demonstrates how when you're breathing into your heart, there have been so many breathing methods studied. This is an easy one to remember and practice daily to allow you to step into activating the higher parts, the higher regions of your mind. It's so important when we think of Viktor Frankl, right? The man's search for meaning. If ever you find yourself locked in a hospital at 19, it was different than at age 43. Now the goal is to get out of the hospital as quickly as possible and to get back into being of service. And this huge purpose that you feel in your life is part of the wellness that comes in. So this is the breathing technique that Kitoto Sunshine Love recommends, and it's often associated with Tantra.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
So will you explain that again? Explain it again so that it's so beautiful to witness. I can see the transformation of light.
Yeah.
And so explain what we're going to do again, and then we'll do it.
Okay, so we breathe out, pushing our belly out in a count of 6. Oh, excuse me, breathe in rather. We breathe in, pushing our belly out, count of 6.
Beautiful.
And we hold it for a count of 6. And then we breathe out, letting our belly come back in for a count of 6. So it's belly out, breathing in, count of 6, holding, count of 6, belly in, breath out, count of 6. We did that in perfect sync.
We did. That was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So much fun to witness and be part of. with this. It's so extraordinary. The number 6, when you see it in 3D, when you see it in 4D, when you link all the different ways that 6 can link, all the different ways, it creates balance. And so it's no coincidence, it's synchrodestiny for that 6 breaths in, 6 breaths hold, 6 breaths on the way out, to connect your belly, to connect so deeply with the belly as you're breathing in. Your belly is all the organs, all of the wisdom that's living within your body being acknowledged. Breathing in balance, the number 6 breaths, and then holding that balance in your system for 6. So you're bringing from the outside world 6. The breath, your breath is always balancing. Holding it on purpose puts you away from the unconscious, subconscious mind running the show, to allow yourself to have your conscious, creative, most available self doing the work in your body. It is getting a hold of your inner dialogue. When you practice this over and over again, breathing 6 into your belly, the organs, when you extend your lungs out, when you're breathing in, your lungs expand, and it gives a little, through the diaphragm, a little bit of pressure and massage to, and a wake up to all of the organs that are in your body. And it signals, hey, get balanced, get balanced, get balanced. Your mind then can, as you're releasing, right? And you're releasing slowly and completely for that count of 6. Again, you're releasing what isn't balanced within your system. Mm-hmm. And so this winds up being such a powerful, simple and powerful tool. If you wind up on the phone with a loved one and you say, oh, baby, I hear you. Oh, love, I get it. I'm so sorry. I can't wait to bring you home. Let's do this breathing together while you're there. And anytime you need help, just know every time I think of you, I'm going to do this breathing for you.
That's beautiful.
There's no order of, we know now that where your mind goes, right, where your thoughts flow, there's an energy that affects where your thoughts go.
Yes.
Your thoughts with emotion. So your loved one, you can breathe for them, bring the balance in, do this work, and for yourself you can do this. Yes. To breathe in the balance. If you're in a rushed state anywhere out there and all of a sudden you're thinking thoughts that aren't necessarily, I call it thoughting all over yourself. Oh my God, I was thoughting all over myself because it wasn't connected to stillness. When you're connected to stillness, what informs you, the eternal presence, the eternal void, both of those are available in the mystery of stillness. When you sit with the frequency of heal, and that energy of commanding yourself to sit, and here you add in the practice. Kitoto, so beautiful. Will you take us through that one more time?
I will. So we're going.
And anything you want to add to what I just shared there, please feel free to.
Well, you said so many beautiful things, and I love the idea of the loved one out on the outside of the hospital and the inpatient, the person, the child of God inside. Having that lifeline. It reminded me very much of when my father was diagnosed with cancer years ago, and I was learning about speaking words of life. And I asked him, well, how are you feeling? He said, tired. And I said, well, tired. And I looked up in the back of the Bible and I said, weary? And he said, yes. And I said, well, even those who grow old get tired and weary, but those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And for a year, he wasn't. A year, he did get better. And, I would say he didn't always understand me. And at the end of, our conversation, well, wait, can I say our scripture first? Can I say this scripture to you first? He'd be like, and then by the end of our coming into this, ministering to him that I was doing, he would say, okay, yeah, you can read the scripture. And it became our special thing. So, saying thank you, angels, that you're coming home very soon. And that, for bringing you home very soon, the best right way for you, for your body, for your mind.
Right. And so for your loved one in a hospital, really saying to them, this is the energy, the angels are bringing you home. I'm going to bring you home as soon as I can, to
Yes.
really hold that. And then your practice with your dad, so beautiful. So beautiful
Yes.
to bring him into that stillness.
Yes. It was amazing to be able to have that gift of just the magic words. They took a little while, but eventually they brought such joy to his face. And that's really what it's all about. So when you're on the phone, you can say, well, I want you to notice 3 amazing things that happened today. It could even be that somebody sneezed, because that's a miracle in and of itself. And so, and then each day it could get, the vibration of that will raise. When you feed something, the white wolf versus the black wolf, when you feed something, it grows. So feed the flowers. Just because you're in the hospital, we showed you can breathe, you can look at things. Color is everywhere. This is the violet flame. I invoke the violet flame, which you can do. And I invoke the violet flame, and part of that is saying, I am the violet flame. And the violet flame has a consciousness like the Holy Spirit. And the violet flame showed me that everything that was blue, purple, pink, and red in my whole entire home was the energy was merging together to create the violet flame in my apartment. So this is all violet flame. This is violet flame. This is violet flame. Everything's violet flame. My painting, you can't really see it here, but it's violet flame. And so the color is everywhere. What colors did you notice? Were you working with the green ray today? I want you to notice things that are green, because green is a healing color and green is the green ray. Master Hilarion, who is St. Paul, works with the green ray. That's Archangel Raphael. That's the healer, Tobias. This is what we're doing. We're working with, like right now, I'm looking at 7th generation wipes, and they're green. They've got pictures of leaves on them. That's the green ray. God has shared this with me.
All
Wherever
of
you go,
colors,
you can
right?
see color. There's always so much more that you can do than what you actually believe you can do. So this week we're talking about being stripped down to losing our dignity, so to speak, in the beginning, because they give us a plastic spoon to eat our steak with. And they give us a Johnny, or they give us pajamas, or they allow us one outfit, or whatever the case may be. They take away our shoelaces, whatever the case may be. It depends on where you are. However, you do have the breath. You have your mind, you have your eyes, you can hear music, you can hum to yourself. You can hear somebody else humming and singing. You can look and make a point to focus on color while you're there. And as a loved one who's on the outside of the hospital and doesn't see what they're seeing, what colors did you notice today? Was it the green ray that spoke to you today? Did you notice the green ray? That's the healing ray. Maybe it's not a healing day. Maybe it's the blue ray. Maybe it's Archangel Michael and Jeremiah. Maybe it's the blue ray today. Mother Mary, Archangel Michael. Maybe it's the pink ray of Christ.
I love that you're sharing that you can share something. I can share about color that's inside this room and say, wow, this is what color means to me. This is the colors that I'm seeing. And so on the phone with a loved one, you're bringing in tools that they can use. They're going to see color in the facility. They're going to experience. So you shared with your dad who was going through cancer, a scripture or a story that you can start that conversation with over and over again, consistency. to share an amazing tool like colors. They're going to see colors everywhere. And you can say, listen, this is what do you want the color red to mean to you? It's for me, in as a doctor that was working but not very present moment by moment outside of that. If I was in a medical facility or helping, or in a clinic helping, I was so present and I was so able to help. In my own life, I had an eating disorder, smoking, drank coffee. That was it. Didn't sleep. But as soon as I got into a setting where I needed to be greater than myself in service, so when I decided to work on getting present in the moment, I used the color red. I love, it's my dad's favorite color. It's one of my favorite colors. Whenever I would see something red, I would ask myself the question, are you here now? And so it was Eckhart Tolle's work, being present in the moment, that allowed me to unlock, to heal the eating disorder. It was great mentors and coaching as well. My husband being my mentor, and learning so much about being in the moment and allowing whatever thought to come, but not to take over my vessel. When I was working, the thought of, oh, you've got to take care of this one, you've got to help here, you've got to be, what does this person need? And then to bring in a practice in the area of your life that you're struggling with. You might be mentally and emotionally and physically in the time of your life, and you can still become the next best version by using exactly what Kitoto is saying here with color. What does the color mean to you? And if someone is in the hospital, so many clients here in Los Angeles that cannot go visit their family members in Italy, and they can't go to out of the country, so many places. And this is such a useful tool to really go, what is between us that we could talk about and create a very special connection with during this time of distance. Kitoto, that's brilliant. So brilliant.
That's color therapy. So you say
Yes.
I am now, that's the root chakra. So red is the root chakra, as you well know, and it's different for everybody, because sometimes your root chakra might be green and then you've got to cleanse it out, or maybe it's green to you for another reason. And there's other chakra systems, there's the 12 chakra system, there's the 7 chakra system, however, right now we're working on all our rainbow, our chakras becoming a rainbow, basically.
Right. The rainbow,
every chakra becomes a rainbow. So that's from Archangel Metatron. But the red is about safety. I am safe. I am abundant. I am safe on the planet. I am safe here. So when I was in the hospital, I was actually ministering to somebody, and I told her, I said, they're saying to me that it's red and green for you. And that doesn't mean stop and go. It means heal and safety. So she had something on red, and then she had been given some green shoes right after that, or no, excuse me, a green sweatshirt. She has been given a green sweatshirt the next day. And I said, see, I told you, they told me it was green for you. And so, you have so much more than you think you have. The minimalist energy, of people just scaling things down. You have beautiful things. You want to look at things feng shui. You have beautiful things in your life, and there's beautiful things in a hospital because they like to keep things sterile. So things are very clean. Things are very neat. You can look at the colors. You can look at the activities that they have. They usually let you do your nails there. There are things that they do for you. Basically, it's really just about getting to simplicity, because that's how we reach everyone. So each hospital is different, and different tiers of different types of hospitals, different where we're looking at state, city, private, what we're looking at, a group, a private hospital, where you live, however, and what time of year it is, to whether or not you go outside or not. However, if you strip it down to the bare necessities, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you imagine, you can really create anything you'd like to create in your mind. Do you need to go to groups if they ask you to leave? Yes, probably you do. Do they listen to music therapy? Do they have yoga? Do they have exercises, stretching? These are all lovely things. And what you can always do is breathe. You can tell them if they're speaking to you and you feel like you need to take a moment, take that moment and breathe with us, as we're going to show you again. And you just say, I'm just taking a moment to practice some deep breathing. And they encourage that. You're speaking their language now because they want you to do that.
And
So,
after we do this, will you teach us more that's speaking their language now? So let's do the breathing again. And again, I want each of us to think of someone that we care for very, very deeply that might be going through a challenging time. And this time when you're practicing it, I want you to breathe. There's no order of difficulty. There's no distance between us. This is what science is showing. Yes, in the physical world, when you get energy, when you look at energy in the microscopic world, you are as close to that person as you're feeling about. You know this because someone will say, oh my gosh, were you thinking about me? Were you dreaming? Were you there with me last night or the other day? And yes, when you're thinking about them, when you're connected to your emotions, if you're connected to thinking without being present in the moment, you are thoughting, right? You're thoughting all over yourself. I'm so sorry you're thoughting. If it's just the same thought over and over, different racing, the next, it's not grounded. It's thoughting. If you're thinking and you're in the current moment, there's the next level. You can breathe with that and infuse energy and motion. You can infuse emotion. If you're thinking about a loved one, there are so many challenges right now, from financial to physical to emotional, the ICU, so many people concerned and in fear. And there are so many people that are finally waking up. They're waking up to, wow, if it's not what I was doing before was insanity. Now that people have had a little bit of rest and digesting the outside world from where they are at home feeling safe, if there is someone you know that might not be feeling safe, that's in fear, I want you to bring them up into your mind and into your awareness. I want you to think of just yourself as this vessel connected to your own stillness, connected to the eternal presence, eternal void, that's the benevolence of your own heart, your own stillness. And then let's do maybe 3 rounds of this breathing. Let's do 3 rounds. And so by the third one, there's this juicy yumminess for them.
okay. So we're going to breathe in at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
You're breathing into your belly for a count of 6. You're holding for a count of 6. And then you're exhaling, pushing your abdomen back in for 6. You're breathing in again, and pushing that belly out. You're holding it, and now you're releasing it. Breathing in deeply into your belly for a count of 6. Holding for a count of 6. and releasing it for a count of 6.
Jelly. So a lot of people are given medication when they're in a hospital. And the doctors are going to offer you different medications. They're going to offer you different opportunities. Excuse me, I just want to make sure this is on silent. I thought I had it on silent before. They're going to offer you a lot of opportunities. And they don't know you. So they don't know how long in the long term that's going to be for you. And so if you practice this deep breathing, you know how to calm yourself down. I don't recommend getting on the heavier anxiety medications. I'm not a doctor, I'm a preacher. I recommend going to God. I recommend going to the breath, going to prana. There's an extremely lovely gentleman who, you know, in this awakened ascension world, followed me into the hospital because his name is Ralph Smart, and his video showed up on the computer when they were teaching a group counseling session and going on to show a video. Right next to it was his picture, and I said, slow motion this side, you know, because he says, feels so good to be alive, baby, breathing in that good os prana. And so that's why I bring him up, because he's the one who taught me that you can be so happy just breathing, you know, and you really do have much more than you think you do. And if you just breathe, you'll really just have that release, that joy, that
So for everyone, for the month of April, on Mondays until May 11th, May is the month of mental wellness. And so in preparation, we miracle makers are prepared. We're prepared to be of the greatest service to those around us, that we choose to help, that we love to help, that we understand in oneness is an extension of ourselves. We're all one is a core belief of ours. From near-death experiences for myself, from science for myself, from medicine, and from the teachings and the wisdom of the ages passed down through my grandmothers and the shamans and the healers and the doctors that I've been lucky enough to work with. We're doing this from today until May 11th on Mondays. We're going to dive in and give you specific tools that shamans, rituals as well. Rituals are a way that the subconscious mind allows you to feel it's already done. The subconscious mind works in symbols, and your body's intelligence has codes within it. And when you do something in a manner that is a rite of passage, it's extraordinary what you can overcome that might have been in there from family members. We're going to talk about, during this month of wellness, the Mondays in Miracle Makers Academy for you, all of these physical tools, all of the emotional tools, the mental tools, as well as the spiritual tools. Kitoto Sunshine Love is an expert in the spiritual tools. She has her spirit, her mental body, her emotional body, and her physical body were in the hospital numerous times from the age of 19 to current day 43. At times she winds up in situations in hospitals where she winds up being locked up and her rights and her possibilities taken away. She helps those that are in the facility be able to have these tools. And sometimes there's the feeling that you were called to be there for someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There
Uh,
were a lot of synchronicities in the hospitalization that I just had. There was a book actually, and I'll share this with you. The somebody at the hospital, if they see this on Facebook, they can chime in and say, "Yep, that book was here," because there's a book from 1986. It was a Reader's Digest book. I had it when I was a teenager. I wrote in the book. That book was in the hospital.
From 1986 in a California hospital, correct?
Nope, in a South Carolina hospital, and I grew up in Massachusetts. That book from Massachusetts was in South Carolina, and I from California came to that place where my handwriting was in that book.
Where miracle makers, it's a lot to wrap your mind around, right? The location of the hospital was different from the state that it was written in, was different from the state that Kitoto Sunshine Love is living in currently. And that incredible book wound up synchronicity, right? That synchronicity to really end. So what are more tools? What are some more of the tools that can really transform your loved one or yourself? We've talked about gratitude, especially in a journal. We've talked a little bit about what to say and what not to say. And I'd love for you to really share what you've shared it briefly. Don't say you're seeing, right? If you're conscious of it, what to say and what not to say.
So they're not necessarily going to be able to help you with your awakening experience. Okay. So if you're seeing colors, you're cleansing your chakras, or you're getting, downloads, because everybody's waking up. So people are winding up in the hospital. First of all, I would suggest getting a gluten restricted diet so you can hear clear when you're in the hospital. Whatever you choose to do when you leave, that's up to you. But in the hospital, ask for a gluten restricted diet. And don't speak about being awake. Don't speak about, you can speak about your spirituality, but a lot of times they think that's just a symptom and it's going to go away. They don't know that it's going to be a part of your life. So if you happen to have angels and guides that you deal with, be yourself, but really don't talk about that. What you really want to discuss with your doctor and your social worker is going home. You really want to discuss going home. You don't want to get too comfortable, depending on where you are. You really don't want to get too comfortable, because in your subconscious mind, it's going to be like, oh, this is a safe place that I can go. You're very safe on the outside too. And I want you to understand that. Again, I'm just a preacher, but I want you to understand that God allows it, but you don't have to be there. You really can
have
take
to
care of
be there.
yourself.
And some of the things that we look for is consistency. Do you wake up? Do you go to sleep? Are you staying up all day, all night? If you're staying up and not literally resting your body, if there's a calorie count, and noticing of how you're going to the bathroom. There is a blood pressure check, and there is are you congenial? Are you responsive? Are you interacting? So things you don't want to do is be silent when a question is asked to you. You don't want to be defiant. You want to also really demonstrate over and over again that you're able to stick with timetables and schedules, and you're able to be consistent while you're in there with what you're saying, what you're sharing, what's moving forward. In Indian medicine, in Egyptian medicine, in native medicine, we allow for a process called an awakening. The Egyptians really allow for a description of more than can be seen with the mind's eye. I brought that up before, and I want to share this again right here. I want to share with you, these are the visible light, right? The visible spectrum. This is what your eyes can see. In your body, you have a lot of different senses, and those senses are tuned in to different frequencies. For example, some of the radio wave activity we've been talking about affect. You've maybe read the studies on how the bees are dying on the planet, and one of the theories is there's different types of waves affecting them. You might have read or heard about birds and turtles getting off their path, not knowing where to go because their internal GPS is off. You've got within yourself an internal GPS. This internal GPS is part of your guidance system that allows you to know when you're going to the next level. You're going to the next level of experience of yourself on a regular basis. So you understand math, right? Or you understand the calendar. So if you understand math, you can do advanced calculus and architecture and engineering and build things. You understand the calendar, you can schedule things and meet people in a time and space location. Well, you have a system within yourself that's designed to help you get where your spirit wants to go on purpose. You've got this incredible system in there, and not all the medicines of the world know how to speak to this system the way that will allow you to feel empowered. That GPS, that internal system, will create within your experience ways for you to know what the next step is in your journey, in your, if we call it awakening, or in your growth pattern for yourself. So more than ever, knowing these tools, knowing this process, so we're all collectively on this planet in a space of bringing out what is challenged, what isn't working. A lot of what is working is able to support what isn't working. That's what is working is the miracle frequency that's awake in each person, always available, is shining light on all the systems that are broken or could use an upgrade. And your bodily system, we've talked about it, this breathing technique, the way that you demonstrate to the outside world, especially when people are watching you and wanting to really do the best for you. I truly believe our medical systems and our hospital systems, and each individual person probably got into it at some level because they wanted to heal. They wanted to help. And whether they're conscious or unconscious, they wound up in that scenario with patients to help that person, help if you wind up in a place like that, to help you. And we've created a system to say, oh, this person's getting better, this person's getting they're not ready to go yet. They need more of whatever our system offers. So the things that show consistently, right? Eating a little bit of your food. If you don't eat your food, it can be seen as defiance. If you don't connect with the person that's making an effort to connect with you, again, it can be pushed in an area that says, oh my gosh, and I want to use the word connect clearly. They're offering a way to listen to you. They're trying to create for you to speak to them. And so what are ways that you've noticed that helps someone know that you're doing better and you're being better and you're being proactively productive in the place that you are?
Journaling. When you're journaling, they're really happy. They're really happy that you're journaling because you're getting out your thoughts and you can figure it out for yourself. And that's what they do. They figure things out for themselves. So again, be like the one that you want. You know, you emulate after.
Right.
You're manifesting, you have somebody that you're aiming for, right? A lot of people choose Oprah, right? I'm going to be the next Oprah, they say. You really want to do, what would the doctor do? You know, if the doctor, before you ask a question, what would somebody else ask, at this point? Do I need to take a breath and think about what I have to say here? Because really what you're dealing with, in some cases, you're dealing with people that really care and want to help you. In private situations, they want to help you, and, or highly paid insurance, but if you find yourself in a situation where you don't have that, for whatever reason, it might not be financial. It could just be a different reason. And you're somewhere else with somebody that isn't like-minded. You want to say, how would this person view what I'm about to say? And is what I'm about to say going to get me released? And that's the most important thing, because right now the hospitals are dealing with people that are waking up. So ask for a gluten-restricted diet, and you can think clearer. You can really breathe, take the time. And when you journal and you go to groups and you participate in groups, you're going home.
You're going home when you participate in groups. And this is, please follow the advice of your own doctor. Your doctor knows your wellness states. The other thing is, if you really need to be in a facility, be in the facility, becoming better. Kitoto has been part from many years of being able to know herself better than the ones in the hospital, and to know what she needs. And she's taking guidance from great doctors and from great healers over a great period of time. And it's so important to, if you need to be in a hospital, be in the hospital. If your loved one needs to be in the hospital, until there is this know thyself. When you know yourself, when you really truly know yourself, then you are connected to your physical body, to your emotional body, your mental body, and spiritual body in integrity. We at Miracle Makers say integrity like this, into the nitty-gritty of yourself. When you can truly know yourself, what you say, what you do, what you think, what you're about matches. It's a direct connection, and you're always on an ever better process to get better communication from your insides, from your heart, from every part of you that communicates through your voice out to the world in a manner that creates integrity, energy, adaptable intelligence around you. That's what you're in the process of becoming, that into the nitty-gritty integrity, the process of being the purest energy and moving into the adaptive intelligence. We are going to take some questions. We are at miraclemakersacademy.com. We've got classes every day of the week, these community meetings. We want to create this space for the members that are within Miracle Makers Academy. Everyone is invited. It's our gift to you during this time period, for you to come on these community meetings, these master classes, for each of us, for Kitoto and myself, to give whatever you are asking for, to be a conduit for allowing that to happen. We want you to have it all, truly, truly have it all. And we especially want to create the momentum this year, year 2020, by May 11th, we want to have any stigma associated with mental illness be released. We want to instead bring in that the whole world is curious about your process, and loving and creating resources in a manner that lets you unpack and unfold. If you're in any of the diagnoses that might have come up, but truly mental wellness for Mental Health Month, May 11th. We're going to do these every Monday. MiracleMakersAcademy.com is your resource if you're watching us on one of the different outlets that we're broadcasting this on. We also encourage you to share this video. We're going to dive in and go into the academy to be able to help the people that called in and are part of that process in the best way possible for them. Upcoming Mondays, we are going to give you very specific physical tools to really be prepared. We're going to take your questions. If you've got a question, please leave it in the comments and we will create an answer for you within Miracle Makers Academy until May. We are doing mass meditations for mental wellness. Cure as the root of the word curiosity. Just imagine what our world could look like if we remove the stigma of everything that has separated us and invite in a knowing of yourself, a gnosis, a knowing of each individual knowing themselves and stepping into the miracle making version. Kitoto, before we sign off from Facebook and some of the other outlets this is going to, what would you share?
What would I share? Again, mind over matter. You have your mind that can prevent you from being in the hospital, that can help you to be where you are when you're in the hospital, that can help you. And basically, my entire purpose for this is just to teach people how, in any circumstance, to keep your vibration high. Gratitude, gratitude, breathing, color, noticing things that are beautiful to raise your vibration, focusing on the things that you want in life, focus on the things that you want to see happen, and appreciating what you have, being grateful for the spoon, you know, being grateful for the steak, being grateful for these lovely things that you're being given this time, being grateful for the time of a pause in your life. You asked me, how would you introduce me, or how would you describe me? I am just simply a woman of God. God chose me and chooses me to use me in different avenues and venues in life. And whatever titles I have, whether it be CEO or minister or a certified Reiki healer, whatever that may be, it's first and foremost, I'm a child of God, and I'm not afraid to go to school again. And when you are in the hospital or you are dealing with the mental wellness, you are learning about yourself. You are learning about the world. You are learning about God and your place in the world with God, and how you are going to maneuver yourself through the ever-changing world that we live in. And the most important thing is that we just showed you one of the number one tools you can take with you anywhere you ever go: breathing. You saw for yourself how immediately, with those 3 sets of 6 deep breaths, 3 deep breaths with the count of 6, in, hold, and out 3 times, that we just immediately felt better. So I really want you to come away with the tools and knowing, whether you were given a diagnosis or you just have been feeling down, whatever the issue is, it doesn't have to be a separation. You know, it doesn't have to be a separation between you and somebody else because you're in a different place in your journey. Really getting rid of the stigma is seeing that we are all in this together. When it comes to depression, anxiety, when it comes to bipolar, schizophrenia, there's some others. Substance abuse. These are all issues that we're all in this together. We all know somebody affected by this, and you don't have to receive a diagnosis. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm a preacher. You don't have to receive a diagnosis. You can go to God about it, because sometimes God may bring you to a different set of doctors, and they say, actually, sweetheart, that's not the case. So I want you to know that it's not fatal. It's not the end of the world. If you were just told you have depression and you're feeling a stigma about it, if you've been in a hospital and you feel a stigma about that, take off the mask. Come out and say, I was hospitalized, and you know what? I'm freaking fabulous. Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, and we continue the conversation at miraclemakersacademy.com, and you're invited. Thank you for joining us here on these various outlets. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you. If you are in Miracle Makers Academy, you don't have to do anything. You're not going to see anything transition or shift. Thank you so much for being with us. Awesome. Oh my gosh, how beautiful are you? Thank you so, so much. We are learning the system within Facebook and within broadcasting. And so I'm interested to see how that landed for the first time with us producing it at this level. So Miracle Makers, let's take a deep breath here. And we dive into your questions next.